the cyclone arrives. A dust devil danced across the arid landscape, mirroring the whirlwind about to descend upon the ancient tomb. A black SUV, ridiculously oversized for the narrow track, screeched to a halt, kicking up a cloud of ochre dirt. Rex the cyclone Corbin exploded from the driver's seat, all rippling muscles and blindingly white teeth. "All right, Maya. Let's give the people what they want," he bellowed, striking a pose that strained the seams of his designer combat pants. "Cyclone Corbin is here." Maya, emerging more gracefully from the passenger side, adjusted her camera. "Whenever you're ready, Rex. Try not to actually break anything this time," he scoffed, already moving towards a bewildered guard stationed near the tomb's entrance. The guard, a wiry man with sun-weathered skin and tired eyes, raised a hand in a gesture of polite but firm refusal. Rex ignored him. "Time for a little impromptu demonstration," Rex announced to Maya's camera, his voice dripping with mock enthusiasm. Before the guard could react, Rex launched into a flurry of Krav maga moves. He executed a series of rapid punches, kicks, and blocks, each accompanied by a guttural yell. The guard, caught off guard, stumbled backward, his face a mask of bewildered annoyance. In less than a minute Rex, with a final, theatrical shove, sent the guard sprawling into the dusty ground. "See that? Disarmed and neutralized. The cyclone doesn't mess around," Rex preemed, flexing his biceps for Maya's camera. Maya lowered her camera slightly, a flicker of something unreadable in her eyes. "Impressive, Rex. Although, I'm not sure that was entirely necessary." He waved a dismissive hand. Details. The people want action, Maya. Besides," he lowered his voice conspiratorially, "it makes for good footage, doesn't it? Cyclone Corbin, respecter of ancient burial grounds and all-around nice guy. Doesn't exactly scream ratings, does it?" Beyond them, the tomb loomed, a testament to forgotten kings and crumbling empires. Hieroglyphs, faded by centuries of sun and wind, hinted at secrets buried within. Its sheer size was breathtaking, a monument of human ambition dwarfed only by the vastness of the desert. The entrance, a dark more promising both knowledge and danger, beckoned. Maya refocused her lens, capturing the grandeur of the tomb and the arrogant figure posturing before it. This was going to be quite a documentary. The stone's vigil. The first rays of dawn kissed the weathered stone steps, pulling Kenji from his meditation. He remained still for a moment longer, the silence amplifying the rhythmic chirping of crickets hidden in the surrounding bamboo grove. His mind, a placid lake moments ago, now rippled with the day's responsibilities. He rose, his movements deliberate and unhurried. Inside the small, sparsely furnished hut, he laid out the ceremonial garb. The deep indigo hakama felt cool against his skin, a stark contrast to the coarse linen of his everyday wear. Over this, he donned a sleeveless jacket, its embroidered crest depicting a snarling Komenu, guardian lion dog, a symbol of the tomb's unwavering protection. The weight of the jacket felt familiar, a tangible reminder of his duty, passed down through generations. He secured the katana at his waist, the polished steel gleaming in the dim light. It wasn't just a weapon, it was an extension of his will, a promise to defend what lay beyond the heavy stone doors. Emerging from the hut, he walked towards the tomb. Villagers, already awake and tending to their fields, paused, bowing their heads in silent respect. Kenji returned the gesture with a slight nod, his face impassive. He was the stone to them, unwavering and enduring, a bulwark against the passage of time and any who might seek to disturb the slumber within. As he reached the entrance, the air grew noticeably cooler. He ran a careless hand over the weathered stone, feeling the echoes of countless seasons. The tomb stood silent, a stoic sentinel against the rising sun. Kenji took his position, his gaze fixed on the path leading up to the entrance. The day had begun. And with it, the vigil. A clash of styles. Rex the Cyclone Cobbin strutted across the sunbaked training yard, his neon green shorts a stark contrast to the ochre dust swirling around his ankles. He spotted Kenji near the edge of the practice mats, a lone figure amidst the frenetic energy of the afternoon session. A smirk stretched across Rex's face. Well, he drawled, his voice carrying across the yard like a whip crack. Look what the cat dragged in. Step right out of a museum, haven't you, pal? Kenji stood motionless, his GI pristine white, his stance rooted like an ancient oak. He didn't react, didn't even blink, as Rex approached, Maya trailing hesitantly behind. That getup must weigh a ton, Rex continued, circling Kenji like a predator sizing up its prey. Bet you're slower than molasses in January. What is that? Some ancient pajama party uniform. You gonna fight in that thing? Looks more like you're ready for a tea ceremony. He punctuated the sentence with a harsh, theatrical laugh. Maya winced. Rex was laying it on thick, even for him. She glanced at Kenji, trying to gauge his reaction, but his face remained an impassive mask. The silence was unnerving, a stark contrast to Rex's boisterous taunts. She thought she detected a tightening around Kenji's jaw. Seriously, though, Rex pressed, oblivious to Maya's discomfort and Kenji's simmering stillness. That old school stuff just doesn't cut it anymore. This is the 21st century, Grandpa. We are talking speed, agility, innovation. Not, whatever that is. He gestured dismissively at Kenji's GI. You probably still think the earth is flat, huh? Still bowing to your sensei 3 times a day? Kenji finally moved. Slowly, deliberately, he raised his gaze to meet Rex's, his eyes like polished obsidian. Respect, he said, his voice a low, resonant rumble. Is not outdated. A subtle shift in his weight, almost imperceptible, signaled a change. The air crackled with unspoken challenge. The challenge is thrown. Rex, all swagger and bouncing fists, cut off Kenji's kata practice in the courtyard. Enough with the flowery dance, Stone. Let's see some real fighting. Krav maga versus, whatever that is you do. He spat the words like they tasted sour. The afternoon sun glinted off the sweat beading on Rex's shaved head, highlighting the aggressive grin plastered across his face. Kenji lowered his wooden bob can, the only sound the gentle breeze rustling the leaves of the ancient maple overhead. His face remained an impassive mask, betraying nothing of the turmoil brewing beneath. Rex's blatant disrespect style, a direct assault on everything he held sacred. To refuse would be seen as weakness, confirming Rex's arrogant assumptions. To accept, to unleash the fury he kept tightly leashed, that felt equally wrong. A demonstration of skill is not a challenge, Kenji said, his voice a low rumble, barely audible over the distant hum of the city. Rex laughed, a harsh, grating sound. Oh, but it is, Stone. I'm challenging you to prove that pretty routine is worth a damn against something real. A real fight. Right here. Right now. From the corner of the courtyard, Maya's fingers tightened on her camera. This was it. The scene she'd been hoping for, dreading, and anticipating all at once. The conflict between the brash, modern aggression of Rex and the quiet, ancient strength of Kenji. This wasn't just a sparring match, it was a clash of philosophies, of cultures. She adjusted the focus, framing Kenji's stoic figure against the backdrop of the weathered stone walls. Kenji remained silent for what felt like an eternity. The only movement was the slow, deliberate tightening of his grip on the bodkin. The air crackled with unspoken tension, thick enough to taste. Finally, he released a slow breath. Very well, Corbin. You wish to test your skills? I accept. The words hung in the air, heavy with a promise Maya knew Rex couldn't possibly comprehend. First blood, almost. All right, Stoneface, Rex sneered, bouncing on the balls of his feet. Let's see if you're as tough as that granite jaw of yours. He exploded forward, a whirlwind of fists and feet aimed at Kenji's head and torso. Rex, living up to his Cyclone moniker, threw a relentless barrage of punches, each strike carrying the force of a small hammer. Kenji remained rooted, a calm eye in the storm. He didn't flinch, didn't telegraph his movements. Instead, with precise, economical motions, he deflected each blow. A subtle shift of his weight here, a raised forearm there. Rex's attacks crashed harmlessly against Kenji's defenses, like waves against a breakwater. The air filled with the sharp thwack of leather against leather, the grunt of exertion from Rex. Maya, perched on a folding chair near the edge of the matted area, adjusted her camera. The lens zoomed in, capturing the minute details, the sweat beading on Rex's brow, the almost imperceptible flicker in Kenji's eyes. This wasn't the sloppy brawl she'd anticipated. This was a calculated dance, a silent conversation spoken through violence. Rex, frustrated by his lack of success, increased the intensity of his assault. He feinted high, then aimed a vicious kick at Kenji's ribs. Kenji smoothly sidestepped, the kick whistling past his ear. In that instant, Kenji's hand shot out, a lightning-fast palm strike connecting with Rex's sternum. The sound was a dull thud, and Rex stumbled backward, momentarily winded. A collective gasp rippled through the small audience. Rex, for the first time, looked uncertain. Kenji stood motionless, his expression unchanged, an unreadable mask. He lowered his hand slightly, a gesture that could have been interpreted as either invitation or warning. The air crackled with anticipation. Had Kenji drawn first blood? Almost. But Rex wasn't down yet. Frustration sets in. What's wrong, statue? Can't keep up. Rex's voice dripped with mockery as another flurry of blows bounced harmlessly off Kenji's forearms. Sweat plastered Rex's hair to his forehead, his breath coming in ragged gasps. He hadn't expected Kenji to be so immovable. Kenji simply adjusted his stance, the movement fluid and economical. Respect is earned, Corbin-san, not demanded. Earned? I'm about to earn you a trip to the hospital. Rex roared, launching a spinning heel kick aimed at Kenji's head. Kenji swayed back, the kick whistling past his ear, and countered with a swift, low sweep. Rex, off balance from his own momentum, stumbled, his hand hitting the mat for support. A flicker of something akin to frustration crossed Kenji's face. Control your anger, Corbin-san. It clouds your judgment. From her vantage point, Maya scribbled furiously in her notebook. Rex, the supposed Krav Maga master, was becoming sloppy. His movements were wider, more telegraphed. He was relying on brute force, and it was failing him. Conversely, Kenji seemed to be growing calmer, more focused, as the fight wore on. His movements were precise, almost effortless, like water flowing around a rock. Rex, fueled by mounting frustration, abandoned all semblance of strategy. He charged, a whirlwind of fists and elbows, each blow aimed with enough force to shatter bone. Kenji, with a barely perceptible sigh, simply stepped aside, letting Rex's momentum carry him past. Rex, off balance again, overextended. He saw the opening a fraction of a second too late. Kenji's hand shot out, a blur of motion, and connected with Rex's solar plexus. The air left Rex's lungs in a whoosh, his legs turned to jelly, and he crumpled to the ground. The stone strikes. Rex, a whirlwind of calculated aggression, feinted left, then right, each movement punctuated with mocking laughter. Come on, stone. You gonna stand there all day? Or are you waiting for the ancestors to fight for you? Kenji remained still, his dark eyes reflecting Rex's frantic energy. Maya watched from the edge of the training circle, her notepad clutched tightly. She scribbled observations, fascinated by the stark contrast between the two men. Rex, all bluster and explosive power; Kenji, a study in quiet intensity. Rex lunged, a spinning heel kick aimed at Kenji's head. A bead of sweat trickled down Kenji's temple, the only visible sign of his exertion. He didn't block, didn't evade in the way Rex anticipated. Instead, at the last possible instant, Kenji shifted his weight, subtly redirecting the force of the kick. It was a minuscule adjustment, almost imperceptible, but crucial. Rex's momentum, previously an advantage, became his undoing. Kenji's hand, like a smooth stone guiding a river, met Rex's heel and nudged it a fraction off course. The cyclone faltered. The spinning kick, robbed of its target and balance, threw Rex off his axis. His foot landed awkwardly, his ankle twisting beneath him. A grunt escaped his lips, not of pain, but of pure, unadulterated surprise. For the first time since the match began, Rex was vulnerable. He stumbled, arms windmilling, trying to regain his footing. Kenji stood firm, an immovable object in the center of the chaos, his expression unchanged. He watched as Rex, the invincible cyclone, struggled to maintain his balance, a flicker of something unreadable in his dark eyes. The training hall, previously filled with Rex's taunts, was now silent, save for the sharp intake of Maya's breath. Humility found. The roar of the crowd faded to a dull hum as Kenji settled into his stance. Rex the Cyclone Corbin, still bouncing on the balls of his feet, feinted left, then right, a whirlwind of tattooed limbs and cocky grins. Come on, Grandpa, he sneered, show me what you got before you need a nap. Kenji's eyes remained fixed, unwavering. He saw the tell, a subtle shift in Rex's weight distribution just before he committed to an attack. As Rex lunged, a spinning hook kick aimed at Kenji's head, Kenji flowed like water around a stone. He deflected the kick with a forearm, simultaneously stepping inside Rex's guard. A swift, precise palm strike connected with Rex's sternum. The air whooshed from Rex's lungs. His eyes widened in disbelief as he crumpled, landing hard on the mat. The fight was over. Silence descended, thick and heavy, punctuated only by Rex's ragged gasps. Then, a hesitant smattering of applause began, growing steadily into a thunderous ovation. Kenji extended a hand, his face a mask of calm. Respect the tradition, he said, his voice barely audible above the din. Rex stared at the offered hand, his face flushed crimson. Defeat tasted bitter, a metallic tang on his tongue. He'd been so sure, so arrogant. He'd visualized the victory 1,000 times. He slowly, grudgingly, accepted Kenji's hand. Kenji pulled him up with surprising strength. There is power in understanding your roots, Kenji said, his voice low, meant only for Rex. Speed and aggression are weapons, but without discipline, they are easily turned against you. You fight like a storm, but a stone endures. Maya Rodriguez, notebook clutched to her chest, watched from ringside. She scribbled furiously, capturing every nuance of the exchange. The humility in Kenji's gesture, the shock and dawning understanding on Rex's face. It was more than just a fight, it was a story begging to be told. A new perspective. The taste of dust and defeat lingered in Rex's mouth, acrid and unwelcome. He pushed himself up, his usual swagger gone, replaced by a grimace that was almost shame. He looked at Kenji, who stood motionless as a granite statue, the setting sun painting him in hues of orange and gold. Tanaka, Rex began, his voice rough, I owe you an apology. My arrogance blinded me. I mocked what I didn't understand. Your style, it's more than just tradition. It's effective. He swallowed hard, the words clearly difficult to force out. I was wrong. He bowed his head, a gesture surprisingly genuine. I disrespected your dojo, your heritage, and you. I am truly sorry. Kenji remained silent for a long moment, the only sound the whisper of the wind through the bamboo grove. Then, slowly, almost imperceptibly, he inclined his head. It wasn't a grand gesture of forgiveness, but a simple acknowledgement, a subtle sign of acceptance. He returned to his post, resuming his silent vigil, the embodiment of unwavering dedication. Maya lowered her camera, the recording stopped. The lens had captured more than just a fight, it had captured a transformation. Rex's initial cockiness had been jarring, even repulsive. But his apology, his humbled demeanor, resonated with a raw honesty she hadn't expected. It wasn't just about fighting prowess, it was about respect, about understanding, about the weight of history and tradition. The fight, the spectacle, had initially drawn her in. Now, she saw a deeper story, a more compelling narrative. It wasn't just about Krav Maga versus traditional martial arts, it was about the human spirit, about ego and humility, about the enduring power of respect. She felt a renewed passion for her film, a burning desire to capture the essence of what she had witnessed. This wasn't just a documentary about fighting, it was a story about growth, about change, about finding strength not just in physical power, but in character. The low sun cast long shadows as Rex turned and walked away, a solitary figure disappearing into the gathering dusk, leaving Kenji, the silent guardian, standing sentinel against the encroaching night.